Very good afternoon to all. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to Tally CA Connect. We have with us Tally evangelist, CA Uttamchand Jain, who is practicing for over 20 years now and is a regular faculty at important ICA forums and tax associations. We are excited today as Uttam sir has come up with a very important discussion, and I'm sure it will be very useful. We all know that from this financial year, we have companies registered have to maintain audit trail, and which is now made available using the edit log feature in TallyPrime. But however, implementing security control is a preliminary step to this. So today's discussion is based on how we can make the best out of TallyPrime, edit log, maintaining the audit trail, and also the security control. So without delay, I think we will begin the discussion. Uttam sir, thank you so much again for taking out time to take us through this, and over to you.
Good afternoon, and it's my privilege to be part of Tally. Thank you, Komal, for the nice introduction which has happened. And what we are going to try today is something which is very, very relevant, and it has become very, very important now based on the level at which the implementations are happening and the risks which are there and how to mitigate those risks. So what we are going to try today is something which is an interplay between the security control vis-a-vis the audit trail. So the audit trail, if I have to say, it is an end of the process, where the starting process is the security implementation. So with that prelude, we will try to see how the interplay has to be looked at and how it can become a source of activity itself, or in case of a practice, how it can be a source of a practice area itself, a vertical itself. You can create this as a vertical and then try to work on it. So what we have to do is, who is going to do what and where he is going to do, when it has to be implemented, and what has to happen if there is not proper implementation. That is what is the interplay between the edit log and the security control. So when the audit trail comes, that is what is the edit log. So when I have an edit log, I will know what is going to happen, or what has happened, who has done it, when it was done it, and what has happened because of the transaction or the modification which was done. The only real security that a man can have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability, and that's what we are going to enhance over a period of next 1 hour. 1 hour is not enough, but we will try to push everything into 1 hour and then try to do saying how the real security can be brought in. Security is not a product, but a process. Security cannot never be a product. It can never be bought as it is in the market, because it is dynamic. The security has to change according to the dynamics which are there, according to the requirements of the business. So when we understand the business, the requirement changes very, very dynamically. Like for example, suddenly they say that e-invoice is applicable. They may say above 5 crores, e-invoice is applicable. So when the e-invoice becomes applicable, I have to change my security to allow certain users to create the e-invoice as and when the process happens. So it's a continuous process. It is not a product that can be bought and said, okay, I purchased it, it will work. That may not work. And that's how we get stuck when we buy a product and saying that that will be security, that will create my edit log and all that. That will not happen. It is a dynamic thing. It's a process which we have to continue. This is my pet slide. Whichever program I take, wherever I speak, I use this slide as my pet slide. So what is my source? What is my destination? What is my path? And what is my documentation which is going to do? For example, today we are into the audit log or the audit trail or edit log. So that is my starting point. So I want to have my edit log. What is that edit log or audit trail which is happening? According to the general definition or the definition provided by, because the company law is silent on about its audit trail. So the audit trail says I have to give me the entire movement right from the time when it was entered till it is in the present scenario. I am talking about an audit trail for an accounting software. So what was the initial transaction and what is the present transaction? What is the movement between these two transactions which has happened? What is the flow? What were the changes made? How the changes were made? That is what is audit trail. So my destination is audit trail. So my destination is audit trail, and for that the source is not the data. The data is only one of the part of that source. My main source is how is my security is in place, how the security has been created. Gautam K, volume is too low at your end. I don't think anyone else is having the problem. Kindly sort it out at your end. So the source is the data, and the data I have to put into a process whereby the process captures the information, what was the changes which is made, who made it, when it was made, and what was the previous value which was there or content which have been changed. So that is what is to be documented, and that is the total structure of this audit trail log. So that is the total process which is going to happen. So we have to understand when we are going to look into the structure and the activity and then try to do it, we have to understand what are the nuances which will happen. What can be the chances of error, how the errors can creep in, how it can be misused, how it can be stopped from being tampered with or misused or not allowing it to be changed over a period of time. So then we have to understand what is the risk. So we have to understand the risk and we have to manage those risks. So then there is an identity risk, when it was modified, how the transaction was modified, identifying who has done it and why he has done it. If I am allowing an unauthorized person to enter into my data and change something, I should be able to find out with whose ID he has come in so that I can go and do a research or do an investigation to find out how the risk has been created. Assess the risk. What is the risk and what is the level of risk which can happen? For example, if I allow anyone to pass any entry, there is a maximum risk which is there. If I allow the entry to be passed by one person and I restrict those persons based on his activity, and then I form what is called as roles. That is what is assessing a risk. How the risk can create or damage my data itself. That is what we have to understand. What are the risks which are there? Take an example. Let's take an example of a risk of a person coming to my office and taking a bill. And after he goes off, I take another bill in another person's name. Like if we go to a petrol bunk and ask for a bill, they give a bill even if you don't buy a petrol. These are things happening. I'm not talking something which is abnormal. This is normally which is happening. And that there is a risk of bills being given to a wrong person. And when the bills are given to a wrong person, same invoice number given to multiple persons, that's the biggest risk which we have under the GST, under the company law, under the income tax law. Everywhere the risk will explorate. So that's what we have to control those risks. How do I control the risk? I have to understand what all the problems can be created by allowing the person to do that. So that is what is called a control risk. Then we have to just because we have identified the risk, we have assessed the risk, and we have understood how to control the risk, we have to review the controls every now and then. We can't say that we have put the lock, so the lock is working permanently. It may not work permanently. So we may have to review the controls as and when we have to go for a change. For example, I said above 5 crores, they may bring in e-invoicing at any point of time. If they bring the e-invoicing at any point of time, I may have to review the controls which I have and allow certain more access or certain more controls I may have to leave away. Similarly, I may have to bring certain controls based on the experience of the people or the change of roles which have happened or the number of employee increase. So there are various reasons based on which the controls have to be looked at it. So we have to also understand the SA 315, which is talking about identifying and assessing the risk. of material misstatement through misunderstanding the entity and its environment. So we have to understand the environment as well as the entity and then map this, and then we can do it, the process of risk mitigation. The auditor's response to assess risk has also to be seen, because when you do an audit, this is relevant. And the audit evidence, for an audit trail in place, we have to create evidence that there is an audit trail in place and that changes could not happen, or the tracking is there, whether it was available throughout the year. That is a question which has been put. So we have to have the evidence for the same. So the objective of the auditor is to identify the risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, at the financial statement and at the assessment level, through understanding the entity and its environment, including entity's internal control, thereby providing a basis of designing and implementing responses to the assess the risk for material misstatement. This will help the auditor to reduce the risk of material misstatement. And when we are going to try at the tally level, this what we are trying to do is we are trying to have the internal control as well as reduce the risk. So I have to understand about the internal control relevant to the audit. That is, when the same concept applies to implementation of security control. Very, very similar controls we have to have. We have to see the nature and extent of control which we have to bring in based on the understanding of the business. So our objective when I am doing the security control is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about the assessment which I have done about the risk, the controls which I have brought in. I am trying to correlate the SA 330 with what is the subject today, and it will help you in even doing the audit. And information technology, we have to understand this, the retention of information technology, because this act overrides all other law. That's the reason why this is more important. So it has to remain same, accessible. When you talk about audit trail, even section, that rule 6G, the which one new brought in the audit report, also talks about retaining the data and being accessible at any point of time. So that is what is required. And the retention of electronic record also will facilitate identification of origin, destination, date and time of dispatch, receipt of electronic record. So this what was brought in as the Information Technology Act. This they are trying to bring in into the Companies Act, and they are saying this is what is required to be maintained. So today's agenda, we are coming to today's agenda, general IT policy, that is the information technology policy. In general, the information technology policy in general talks about from where I buy the hardware, from where I buy the software, which all software I will use, whether I will use the original version, so on so forth. For example, if it is Microsoft, whether I will use 365 or I will use 2019, as the case may be, or I will do something else. Security policy in Tally has to be seen. So that will be the second agenda. Password policy, how the password policy has to be seen, how it can be implemented in Tally, that we will see. The user roles policy, what is the user role I will create, how the user roles are created, how it is implemented, because all this will help you in understanding the audit trail. Then I will have actual users and how do I create passwords for them. And then comes the Tally audit and the audit trail. So the Tally audit itself can be done. Audit trail is subsequent. Before that, Tally audit can be done, which is an icon which will tell you which user has done how much activity. That is what is Tally audit. The audit trail is tracking that transaction which has happened right from inception till the end in the present position. Normal IT policies are audit trail in information technology context is have the application log, have the database log, have the operating log, have the access logs, network logs, and application specific audit trail. This in general audit trail in information technology concept. But we are going to restrict ourselves to the accounting software. let me get into two basics here before I venture into Tally itself and then try to tell you or show you how the security features are implemented in Tally. One of the major is the access control. The access control, what is the access I'm going to allow? What are the access I'm not going to allow? So disallow access, allow access. And these what are the accesses which are there. Whether I'm going to allow only alter or I'm going to allow only create, create alter, display, display print. When I say display, I can only see. I cannot take, I cannot print, I cannot export, I cannot email, I cannot do anything else than only see on the screen. And that's the reason why in many places you see that the mobiles are surrendered at the reception and then only you are allowed to go inside. So that you cannot take the photo of the screen as well. And many places the print screen option is also muted. And then you may say, I may print a screen using Google. So many places they have the software blocked so that you cannot use the security level. Then we have the activities control. So that was the access control, and this is the activity control. Which activity I'll allow and what is that I'm going to map it. So I have to map between the access and the activities. What is the type of access I'm going to give and what are the activities I'm going to allow or not going to allow. So these are going to be mapped with each other, and this is how it has to happen. Now let's go into and try to see data and work on that. You're able to see my screen? Kindly confirm whether you're able to see my Tally screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between the two companies at the top and the company's name at the bottom? Is there any difference? Quickly can put on the chat.
Actually, I had disabled the chat. Now it is active, so everyone can reply. I think there's a reply by in the chat also.
Yeah.
And also in the Q&A.
Yeah. So they say about Tally Vault. This is one of the security which is there in Tally. This is a type of security which is a Tally Vault password which disables the name to be seen by the user, any other user. So unless until you give a password, the name will not be displayed. So what I'm trying to tell you is here there is no user ID. Unless until you give me a password, you will not be able to see the name as well as the period for which the data is. This is the a super lock on the lock which is going to create and not allow you to pass or look into the data itself. So kindly note, if you are going to do this, there is a chance of permanently losing the data because the name itself is not known. The breaking of password will become very, very difficult, and it will be maybe impossible to even open the data and see. So that is the first level of security which you are talking about. So if I have to remove the Tally Vault password, how do I do it? If I have created a Tally Vault password and created a data and I want to remove the Tally Vault password, how do I do it? I have to go to Tally Vault password, give the old password and leave the new password as blank. Don't type anything, not even a space. Even space is considered to be a password. It recognizes space as a password. So do not do that. Once you do this, it will ask you and it will generate a backup and then try to open the data. It will try to open the data once it is closed, that company is closed. And if you see now, that was a 10,006, which was originally lying, and there's a new company created. Now let's move to the security. Unless and until I have the master security, that is what is called administrative security, I cannot have any other security. So unless and until I appoint someone to take care of the security. No one else can bring in any security. So I think there is one question which we may miss out. How can we see audit trail in 6.6.63? Currently we are using. If you are using the very old version, then you are missing many more things which are there, including your GST, TDS, all have got improvised, all have become more simpler. So it is better that you go to the latest, and only with the latest you will be able to see all the features which are there, including the audit trail. The audit trail is available only from version 2.1 and onwards. We will come to that in the back end of the session, where I am going to take you to the audit log and show you how the audit log looks like. If you see here, there's nothing. It is called gold because it's the auditor's edition. It's gold, so that's how it works. Now when I say Alt K and I say Alter, if this is visible, that means I am using the administrative password to log in. So I have to create a policy. I should create a policy for Tally, saying what will be my policy for accounting software Tally. What is that I will have? What is that I will have? What is that I will have is I will not be able to see alter. If I am able to see the alter, that means I am using the auditor's edition, and I was on the concept of saying what should be your policy. My policy should be, once I am an administrator, I will do only administrative work. If I am a secretary to the director, I will do only secretarial work to the director. If I am a HR to the company, I will do only HR activity to the company. Similarly, if I am using Tally data, I will do only administrating the data in Tally. I will not pass or alter any of the data which has been punched in. I will never punch in data. I will never alter data. I will never modify data. That should be the policy of the admin. The admin will be only to administer the users in Tally and generate report and see whether they are in place, whether the security which I put is in place or not. How to recover username password? That is not possible. Normally, you have to only go to Tally and they will help you in recovering the username and password. There are people, Tally channel partners, who also do the work. It will be not possible unless until you know the username and then you know the permutation combination of the password, and then you can try it out. And if you are not able to do it, contact support@tallysolutions.com. They will help you out in breaking the password to the greatest extent possible. No one can say that any password can be broken, because password breaking will all depend on the combination of the password which you have done, how the password was created and how you normally create. That is one way of looking at breaking the password. The other is they going back into the database of the software and then trying to call out the password. So alter, if you are not able to see, that means you are not the. So when I am going to do the security level, the policy starts with the password policy. So what is the password policy which I am going to give? Whether I am going to activate the password policy, invariably it should be yes, not no. Okay, there are some questions. We will take the questions as and when they are coming. We will be using Tally Gold version multi-user. We have created two companies, A and B in Tally. For A company, we need edit log, and for B company, we do not want edit log. In this situation, do we need to download both TallyPrime 2.1 with edit log and without and with edit log? The answer is yes. The edit log will work only in the edit log version, because one of the requirements of Companies Act is the edit log should be available throughout the data or throughout the period. So if I am going to use the data in edit log, I will not be able to switch off the edit log. So that is the reason why they have created a new Tally program itself, which is an edit log. So when you are going to have the edit log, and if you don't want to use the edit log, then you have to go for the normal 2.1, where you can switch on, switch off edit log. We will look at it that we can switch on, switch off, but in the with edit log TallyPrime 2.1, you will not be able to switch off the edit log. Whether printing or exporting of audit trail is available in current Tally or will come in future I don't predict. But as of now, you can only take a screenshot and keep it. It is not allowing you to export it. Maybe the reason, the logic is you may tamper that also. So that is the reason why they don't allow that to be exported or even printed. So you have to take the screenshot and store the screenshot. Is audit trail applicable to charitable trust? As of now, it is applicable only to companies because the amendment has been brought in the Companies Act. The days are not far off when it will be brought to everyone. Will the audit trail capture information of Tally serial number and other license details, computer name and system, etc.? No, because what is being done is on the data, not on the system. So the data stamping will happen based on who has done it, that is the user ID, when it was done, the date and the time, and what was the content earlier. We will see that as we go forward. Okay, with this we have completed the question, so we'll come back to the session. So password policy, it's very similar to what you see for your banking industry. When you see your bank accounting or bank account operation. There also, the bank admin, the administrator there creates the password and gives to you, and thereafter you start using it. And as soon as you log in, it gives you a parameter saying that your password should be this much of length. This should have alphanumerical. Then they may say even special characters. Also one capital letter. Sometimes they may say the length is 10. All that can be brought in by us, and we will decide how much is the parameters required. Now whether I said minimum length is 9, whether you want advanced, let's see what is advanced. So it is now saying, otherwise I could have 9 blank itself as a password, 9 blank spaces itself as a password. Now I am saying no, it should be 4 alphabets, 4 numericals, and 1 special character. So earlier 9 length of the password is 9. If you see here, the alphabet does not require a capital alphabet as well. It doesn't require that. And the sequence is also not stated. So I can have in any sequence, but it should contain 4 alphabets, 4 numericals, 1 special character. The alphabet need not be in capital, or it can be in everything capital possible. Now it is asking me password expires. Suppose I say 0, that means password will never expire. So basically what we are trying to do is, we are going to have a security control saying that there is a control which I am going to have, and that's the reason why I will always say password will expire. If I say 90 days, that means every 30 days the password will expire. Every 3 months. Every 3 months I have to change. It is very similar to what you have been discussing about the bank. The bank account, the password changes in very similar fashion. Now whether the user has to be notified. Like in your bank account, you will get next 3 days, your password has to change. Today you can't change, but next 7 days it will change. But in a bank, you say it can change now itself. Possible, but we will stop that, and how to stop that we will see. Now whether I should restrict the old password, yes or no? Help me in designing the password policy. Whether the password should be allowed to No. Why? Why you say no? Just saying yes or no will not help. Oh, no and yes. Are you changing or you are saying in a typical chart account and saying yes or no, whichever way you want to do, you can do. If yes, why yes? If no, why no? There are two more questions which have come. Yes. In case of number of people, we will keep the same password. No. Why should you keep the same password, sir? You will not keep the same password. The password should not be with the admin. Do the bank person have your password? No, he doesn't have your password. It is you who will have the password. If yes, we making habit to change the password every 90 days. You have to now bring in the habit of changing password, creating policy, creating the requirement as per law. You have to do it. You don't have an option now. Yeah. The question in the Q&A is how to protect data folder in Tally Gold. We create path for the data folder, and the data folder need to give right to for read write. Sir, you are talking about something which is for the server. In a case of a server, I will say read write. I can say only read. I will create a folder and that folder will say read write or not. If I have to allow anyone to pass an entry, then I have to allow him to have a read write option on that particular folder, and the folder will have the data. So if I want one particular folder with only 3 users, I will create a separate folder and then I will try to give that to that 3 person. If I want only 2 people, then I will give it a separate folder and then try to do it. It is something which is beyond the scope of today's subject. If the accountant has some malified intention, you have to see how to rectify that person or then otherwise send him out. Because if he has any malified intention, if you understand him, then that will be most dangerous to keep him with you. Can we use both TallyPrime and TallyPrime edit log in one Tally license? Yes, you can. You can download and then you can keep it in 2 different folders and simultaneously use it. Why TallyPrime itself? We can even use the Tally older version and also keep the newer version possible. Parallel working is right now allowed. Yes, once I say that I'm not going to allow you to restrict the password, and if I say 3, that means for the entire year, I will have 4 passwords. Every 3 months, you have to change the password. Now change password on first login, whether you will say yes or no. Whether you will say yes or no. Why yes? Why yes? Everyone is saying yes, but why? Otherwise, the user will say that admin knows the password and he would have changed the entry. I have not done it. No, not that. Avoid anything. It is always for because the user, the admin will create the user and then give the password to the user. User has to change the password and keep the password based on these parameters. That is the password strength. So then the next one is, will the user allowed to change the password as and when he wants? Will you say yes or no? Because this is most critical in your password policy. This is a very, very critical on password policy. Do you think that the questions which are coming are beyond the scope of this subject? allow users to change password. Will I allow the user to change the password? Will I allow user to change the password as and when they want? No, we should not allow, because otherwise, for example, I just give an example. I am working in a particular organization. I don't want, or I don't feel like working today. So what I do is I share the password with my colleague, and the colleague passes on 5 or 10 entries. And thereafter, next day morning, I change the password. So I will never come to know that my password has been shared with someone. If I have to do it, then I have to say that the password cannot be changed by the user. He has to come to me, to the admin. Along with this, what I will do is I will have one more extra policy saying that all of a sudden I will change the password of the users, maybe on a random basis, not all the password on one day. On a random basis, I will be changing the password in between as well. Whatever we have discussed, whatever we have seen how it has to be done, should be documented and kept, saying this is my IT policy. So if I am a chartered accountant in practice, I can take this as a vertical of designing the security for the person in Tally and take it as a practice. Now let us move to user roles. Always in IT policy, it is on the reverse direction. First, I will decide on the policy, then I will decide on the user, how many users I have. For understanding how many users I have to understand the business and what are the errors which may happen in the business. So what are the errors which can happen in the business? I have to understand how many users are there. Some companies may have 10 users, some may have 5 users, some may have only 2 users, some may have only 1 user. Even in 1 user, the admin should not pass the entry. The user alone should pass the entry. Now let's see the user roles. These are the by default created user roles. By Tally, it is created by default. Data entry is they are just trying to give you how the data entry looks like or how you have to create it. Then you have the tally.net user, that is for the remote user. When I want to come through the net and join the data, that's how I use the TallyNet. And then TallyNet auditor, it is for the auditor's edition. So if the user is the auditor, he will not even create a password. The admin will not create the password. The user will come automatically. And then the owner, this is a license owner who is having. So these are additional users through the net. This is auditor through the net. This is owner through the net. Let me try to do something called sales. So I can say sales from where I am going to give. Whether I am going to give from owner, or that is owner means entire the admin, entire data is available. Out of that I am going to give, or it is already filtered. For example, I have a sales manager. So if I am having a sales manager, the manager will have higher minority over the data than the salesman. So sales manager will have more power than a salesman. So I'll say sales manager from owner. Allow backdated entries. How many entries I can go back and pass an entry? I'll say 7. Maybe I'm taking the clue from what the notification has come 2 days back, saying 7 days are allowed. That is on 1st May. They said 7 days are allowed for you to create e-invoices. And then I can say cutoff. Say I'm implementing today. So I'll say cutoff to 5/23. So any entry before this should not be allowed. What do you mean by cutoff? Is I am creating a new security level, and in that security level, though I am creating today, I am saying 7 days is allowed, but I will not allow yesterday onwards itself. That is the cutoff. So whenever normally we do it when we are in the year end. At the year end, for the data entry, majority of the people I'll say no entry can be passed before 31st March. Allow to save report. How many of you are aware that there is something called save report concept in Tally? Save report is a quick report view which is available, which I can myself design and keep it permanently where I can see as and when I want. Now, whether I want the sales manager to use that kind of a thing or not, whether he can remove, if he can create something, whether he can delete also, that is what is this two icons. And then I can say yes to print rules, whether I will allow him only sales voucher, only sales order, and nothing else. So disallow all accounting vouchers. So this guy will be allowed to take entry or printout of only sales order or sales voucher. That's all. Nothing else will be allowed for him. Similarly, whether the sales guy will be allowed to change the rate of tax when I am going to do the GST. Normally it should be no. Similarly, I should maintain all the invoices or the ledgers bill wise. For example, when I coming to Companies Act, it says bill wise you maintain or you have to report in your financials debtors outstanding for 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years and above. So all that I can do it only if it is maintained reference wise, not on account wise. So I can say on account not allowed. Whether new numbers from item allocation, these for your order tracking, whether I can exclude new numbers, I don't allow him to give a new number. He has to select a number which is already there. That is what it means by that line item. Allow company to connect, whether this person with this security level can connect the data to the web, whether he can connect the data, that is what is the intention. Use TallyNet, whether this guy can use TallyNet. Now we'll start with the actual control. Suppose I don't want him to see the full balance sheet. I don't want to see him the full profit and loss account, full access to profit and loss account, full access to balance sheet, full access to accounting vouchers, full access to accounting masters, full access to inventory masters, full access to inventory vouchers. I'm just trying to give few of the things. It's a lengthy list. If you see here, the list is 89 plus whatever you see. And if you have created more type of vouchers, this will go jump like anything. The number of type of vouchers you create, the number of items you create, this will jump like anything. So it all depends on how many voucher types you have created, how many groups you have done, and so on and so forth. So I am allowing him only sales voucher. I allow him only sales order. I am allowing him balance sheet. That is display. Display print profit and loss account. Create alter inventory. I'm just trying to give different scenario. We have to understand what is the requirement of the organization. We have to talk to the management and then try to understand what there is requirement of, where there are chances of error. Like for example, if I say create alter inventory masters, the name of the inventory itself may be changed, taken print and then restored, possible. So you have to be very careful in understanding, analyzing what you are going to allow, what you are not going to allow. Preview inventory vouchers. Preview is nothing but viewing. So I'm just trying to create a manager type security level. Then I can create one more called salesman. Now when I create a salesman, I can say I'll pick from sales manager. So whatever I have already filtered, from that again I am going to filter and give. That is what is the next scenario. I am not going to get into it. And let me close here. So now I have created the company with a user and then we have gone ahead and done it. Now let me shut this company and then try to open again. This time, sorry. Okay. So let me try to now create a user. So how many type of users I can create? I can create TallyNet auditor. Say for example, I am going to create TallyNet auditor for myself. if I'm going to create like this, if you just see, it skips the password, because what I'm now going to do is I am going to come to this data through tallysolutions.com, the website. I'm going to use their website to come to the data, and that is what is the reason why the password is not asked. I will have a password created with tallysolutions.com. Whether having browser access is a separate subject in itself, whether I'll have a remote access, whether I can use the TDS. Now let me create for a salesman. Salesman, say I am going to create a salesman with D as a, and I'll say password as one alphabet. Any questions here? If I see my policy, it says the length should be 9. However, I am trying to do with one alphabet, it will accept. Now let me try to log in with that particular password. Immediately when I log in, now it gives me the parameters which is required and what are the special characters which it can give. So I have to give the password which the admin has given me, and then I have to give a password what is required to be given now based on the. Now when I do something like this, what I did is I did an intentional error of giving a new password and repeating the password wrongly. It throws up the error message. Once I have given, it goes inside. What I said, balance sheet you can only see, you cannot print. So I'm trying to now print the balance sheet. Once I print the balance sheet, it says you don't have an access. Okay, what else I can do? I can export the balance sheet. No, you cannot export the balance sheet. So this is how I can control the scenarios which are there, and I can see at it. Any doubt till this? If you want something to be repeated, let me know, because these are very, very relevant. I just did one, and let me see with profit loss account. It allows me to print, because I said display print. Similarly, if I go to the vouchers, all other vouchers have gone, are freezed. I cannot enter into. And if you see that, if you remember what I did not stop anything else. So it is showing me all, but I can even stop that. And I say, I will not allow you. For example, I said inventory only allowed. So accounting is not allowed. Accounting changes are not allowed. Inventory item changes allowed. Create alter. If I say alter, only again this. It will not allow me to change something which is not allowed to be changed. So how do you test? How do you test whether your security is in place? The testing is done on the negative side. Because the positive side, the user will do it. On the negative side, I will do it, saying that, okay, you don't want me to do this, I will not do it. So I should try to do something which I don't want him to do. So that is how the testing happens. It's a very, very long process of testing the software or the securities which are in place. Let me go back to the company with my master password and then try to proceed further. So if I have to create, I have to come here and then create and it will show me the total number of security lists which are available. I have to only filter from them and then say, give it. If you see the Tally Net Auditor, by default, everything will be allowed. It is for you to go and change it and make it read only, and then say that it is a read only scenario. So when I do a documentation, I will do the documentation of the password policy, the user roles, to whom I have been linked. Maybe 10 minutes from now, I will show you the matrix, how the matrix are created how the matrix have to be documented and how it has to be created, and then to know who is what eligible. That also how we can filter it using an Excel to do that. So any doubt till this? Let me try to open a data which has a lot of content. Then only you'll be able to understand. What I will try to do is, I will try to open a data where the audit trail is already activated. See how it works. Once I say, which is already opened in Tally audit log, I am now trying to open, it says migrate data. So let me try to migrate data itself. It doesn't want, as of now, it doesn't want you saying that this data was already in Tally audit log. You are opening in the wrong type of Tally. It will not prompt you. By default, if you go and open like this, that means a backup has been created and that backup file is now open for you to look at it. Madam, is there any doubts now? Till because I am getting into Tally audit trail now.
So the questions in the Q&A are all answered, right?
No, not all. Not all.
I think the last.
Let me see what is that which is not answered. What information will be captured in audit trail when entry made or altered is in remote login? Will it capture the email ID? Yes, it will capture only the ID of the person who is doing the transaction. It will not capture the IP address or remote access, which IP address it is there, which Tally license it has been done. All that is not required also as per law, and that is not going to be captured. What is going to be captured is who did it, when it was done, what was the previous edition of that particular scenario. Can admin rechange the password created by the user? Yes, I will try to do it and show you how it is done. What information will be captured in trail when entry made or altered in remote login or cloud or Tally server? Will it capture email ID? Again, I have answered the same question, it is repeated. How can we import transactions from Excel to Tally? Not the subject of the day. We will not try to get into something which is beyond the scope of the program today. Now let me try to tell you how it is working. Now I was talking about saying that there's something called audit, Tally audit, and there's something called audit trail. Both are different. There's an edit log that is different. What is a Tally audit is something different. Now I'll take Alt K, Alter, and if you see this at the fag end, there's something called Tally audit feature, enable Tally audit feature. Now if I am going to go and see, this feature should not be shown to me. It will not be shown to me. If I say Alt K, Alter, I go to the screen here. If I say yes, it will show me the Tally audit feature. Again repeating, Alt K, Alter, there's something called enable Tally audit feature. If I say yes, then only I'll be able to see the Tally audit. So whenever I am an admin, I will always keep this no. As and when I require, I'll keep it as yes and see the report and come back and say no. This is one. Number two, someone was asking me whether the audit trail or the edit log will be available in the older version. Yes, it is available. Here you can say yes or no. Normally, again, this will not be visible. In many of the cases, you have to say press F12 and allow me to see the edit log. That's what you have to say yes. If you say yes, then it will be visible. Otherwise, it will not be visible. So I can have edit log here also. Once I activate an edit log, even on a normal Tally, other than is Tally 2.1 version, then it will create a backup and then start creating the log. So when I see the Tally audit, it talks about type of vouchers, how many type of vouchers are there, and who has passed it. So these are the voucher types. It will tell me, it will show me the voucher types, it will show me the ledgers which are there, who created it, all that will be displayed to me. This is a problem when you are going to have the data open and then you try to open another data. This has a lot of entries, so that's the reason why I picked up this. And then I will try to show you how the Tally audit feature looks like. If you see, these are the number of voucher types and who has created what, when, everything will be shown to you. Entered by when, who has entered it. This is the normal or edit log or normal Tally audit feature. Who has passed the entry, who has created the masters, masters was created by whom, all that will be shown to you. Which user has done what. So from here I'll be able to find out saying which user has done how much work. These are major work done by this person. So that means allocation of work has to be done. Allocation of work has to be done. So I have to now design the security control and then allocate the work between various people and see to it that there are check and balances. For example, a salesperson will not do banking entry. He will not pass entry for receipt. A salesperson will only pass entry for sales. He may be given purchase also based on the number of people working in the organization. If I have lesser number of people, then this will be bundled and given to one person. That's how it has to work on. I may even not give the name of the person here. I may always give a code number for every employee. Employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, employee 4. That way I can give. Or I can create the code number for the employee and give that as the username possible. Someone is asking me how to change the password when you are going to be in between. So whenever you are in between, you can just go there and then say change the password as A or B or C, whatever you want to give the password, you can do it. That is the place where you change the password. Say for example, I said all of a sudden on one fine morning, you will change the password without telling the users. So you will come here and then say randomly I will change. I will change for say this person. I'm just giving one alphabet, that's all. And 2 people have changed it. Those 2 people should come to me asking for the password, which I'll put in an envelope and give it to him. They will have to go log in and change the password on first login. Now this is about Tally audit features. Any doubt before I switch to the edit log Tally? Is there any way to define security access control policies to multiple Tally data? There are no ways. You have to only design it. You as a user has to design it and then put it across saying this is what I have designed it. This has to be approved by the management and then you have to only implement and test it. For example, you define the security policy as 9 and they don't like 9, they say 7. Possible. So you have to change the policy accordingly and say it is 7, which is the length of the password. So that's how it has to be looked into. So multiple data, I may have multiple policies. Same company, multiple data, multiple policies may be possible. You're able to see me the screen where no company is open, it's only select company. You're able to see at the top corner, it is edit log. This is the screen which is visible to you.
Yes.
Yes. So this is what is the edit log feature. So when I am going to open a company which has already opened in a non-edit log scenario, now I am opening into edit log. It says after migration, your company data will be compatible to this release, and the TallyPrime edit log will always keep a log of all activities such as creation, alteration, deletion of masters and vouchers. Additionally, all vouchers will be automatic voucher numbering will be updated to automatic manual override. This is because the voucher number should not change automatically if I insert one line item. If I insert one line item, the numbers are getting automatically renumbered because I have said automatic. So in that scenario, it will not change the numbers which have been already allotted. That is what is called automatic manual override. Without affecting the existing voucher number, the voucher number will be same. Can we put user-based security on all companies at once? No. Every company you have to create the user ID, you have to create the role, you have to create the policy. Every company independently you have to do it. However, once you have done the same user ID password across many companies, then you can log in. Once you have given, you can log in with the same password for different companies. Possible. Possible. Once you have that company, then you can log in with the same user ID password across all companies. In case of Tally Vault password is changed, then still we can keep the old password so that we can access the old backup of. Yeah, it is possible. If you have changed the password, you have to remember the password. That's the only thing. You will not be able to remember anything. Gone. Gone. Straight away out. There's a new icon which has got activated now. Edit log. Now when I say edit log, this company was moved from the earlier version to this version at this time. Let me try to open the data which has more content and which was opened in more than one way. More than once it was opened, moved between the edit log and the non-edit log. Let me try to do that. So it is taking the backup and now it is going to show me the edit log. So it gives in the sequential number when this was opened, when this was moved out, when it was brought in back. It may be 1 minute, it may be 1 day or more than 1 day. It all captures and tells me so whether the audit log or the audit trail was available throughout the year? The answer is no, because it was moved away and it was brought in back. So I was in normal tally, I came to edit log, normal tally, edit log, normal tally, edit log, now again normal tally, now it has come to edit log. Any doubt till this? Can we copy the user ID, password and roles from one company to another company, or we have to create separately for all the companies? Never try to copy paste. That's the best idea. But if you want, then you have to open two tallies, copy from one tally. I can use multiple tally, like in Excel, I can use multiple Excel sheets or Excel files, go without not the same name. But here I can open different tally with the same company name open or different company name open, and then I can copy paste from one to other. But that I will be able to do only for user ID and the password which is there, not for the roles, because roles is requiring selection from the drop down. Okay. Any doubt till this? Now let me try to show you how the edit log looks, or edit log has to be seen when you are in a voucher or in a ledger. Let me first try to do something with a ledger. Say for example, this ledger, I say limited, I change. There are so many parameters. I may change any of the parameters. I may say credit period 30 days. Yes, some changes I have made it. I have made the changes and I have saved the changes. Now let me see how it has to be seen, the changes which has happened. This was the original record and it has been changed once. The stamping has happened, the date, the time, and the user who has done it. The user who has done it, what he has done it, whether he has altered or amended, it will tell you. And now what is amended? You see at the bottom, if you see here, there are red in color. So it is red in color. It will tell you what all the changes you have done. Everything will be shown in one screenshot. There are all the parameters which are there. If you are going to increase the parameter, open up more parameters, that also will be shown. And whatever changes you have done will be displayed here. Can I export this? No. If you see here, I cannot export this because it says current is suppressed. I cannot export this or print this. I can maximum take screenshot and keep it. This is how the present working happens in Tally. This is about seeing in a ledger. Now let me go and see in daybook how it looks like in a daybook. Display daybook, and here I want to see. Here I want to see. Here I have to see here basis of value and show me reports for all vouchers altered. There are no vouchers altered, and if it is for the entire period, any vouchers which have been altered, it will throw out and show me saying these are all the vouchers which have been altered. Why it is not showing? It will capture only transactions which are altered subsequent to opening of the audit trail or audit edit log. Only after I activated the edit log, this will be shown to me. So this is how the audit trail looks like and it works around. Any doubt? Before I go back to my PPT and try to answer a few more or show you a few more slides. So anything which has to be gone through again, it looks very simple. It is not that simple, but it can be learned and it can be implemented only by trial and error method, because you have to do a lot of testing which has to happen. The testing is on the negative side, saying that the testing will be done on what all the user should not do. I will try to do it and capture it. The audit log, the edit log which is there, audit trail, will be available only after you activate. And once you activate, what was the previous one will be shown to you. That's what we saw. What is the changes which are the changes which have been done will be shown to you. It will show you the vouchers which have been altered, amended, and who has amended. The user name also will be shown. And we were talking about the save view. If I have that kind of a view, I can always create like this and say that show me the change the view, basis of value, altered vouchers, and this I can save it as a saved view, saying day book, altered vouchers. So I can set this as a default, or I can say no. Default means whenever I come to day book, this will show me like this one. And whether it is for this company or all companies, for particular period, for all the periods. Now if I go to Alt G, it will straight away show me throughout the altered vouchers only, straight away, without me going to do anything else, nor even maneuvering between the display, day book and all that. I can straight away go into it and finish it off. If changes are made for number of times, yes, all the changes will be shown. It will be displayed to you. What was the original and what was the transaction, how it has moved around. Everything will be shown to you. And that is the reason why the data will get many times expanded because of the changes which you make. If I make 4 changes, 4 vouchers will be saved and only the latest voucher will be displayed in your trial balance, but everything will be saved. So the data size will get increased automatically when I use audit, trail or edit log version. How did you open audit trail? I first created or use the tally edit log feature. Once I am there in edit log feature, once I have selected a particular company, if I say show me edit log, it will show me the edit log. So whether the edit log was available throughout the year. If this was not available throughout the year, that means any changes made between this period. Say for example on 29th, it was on 3rd. Again, it was moved away from edit log on 29th April at 2:23. On 3rd May, it was brought in. Any changes made between these 2 dates, 29th April to 3rd May, the audit trail will not be available in Tally, or the edit log will not be available. I will not be able to see what is the voucher which has got amended, altered, modified, deleted. Hope I am clear. What is the shortcut key used? Alt K. Alt K is the scenario. Just give me a moment. It's not showing me correctly as of now, but the shortcut key is Shift plus F5, which will show you the entire changes which have been made in the voucher. There is a shortcut key, Shift F5. We note there are no options to store document soft copies in Tally. So can we integrate Tally with document management solution? It all depends on your Excel, sir, your TDL. It can be done. It can be done. There are some softwares which are allowing you to attach the documents to the vouchers. As far as the ledger is concerned, whenever I did the alteration in ledger, I press Alt Q. Alt Q is a shortcut key to see the changes in the ledger. But that may not sometimes work. So you have to say Alt Q. And once I enter into it, it shows me the differences which were there. Version 1, version 2. It will always compare between the version. Version 1 to version 2, then version 2 to version 3. That's how it will compare. The original was this. Nothing is available before that. So every version it will be showing in the same sequence when it was there. If I alter something more here now, for example, if I say activate interest and then try to give interest as 12%, 365, normal rounding of 2 decimal places, Control A, again, Alt Q. Now it shows me that this was altered. The interest rate has been activated, which was not activated at all. So it was blank earlier. Now it is activated, and this is what has been done. What all things which have been given, the parameters given has been picked up. Or I can even do one more thing. Again, I'll change it, and then I'll say it is 15% from first 365 days from 1st May 21. Normal rounding of 2 decimal places. Alt Q, and now it throws up the changes which have been made. Now always note that the changes is between the previous version to the current version, because it is already altered earlier. That is not been shown as altered now. This is the only alteration which is made in this particular version. So wherever there is nothing there on the other side, that means this was never activated earlier. Hope that is clear. Anything else?
So we don't see any further questions in the Q&A, and it's almost about time. So we have completed our PPT, right?
Yeah.
Presentation is done. Yeah. So I think I'll just tell the in the audience, if you still have any queries you would like to ask Uttam sir directly, I can, raise your hand. I will unmute you and you can ask your query directly. That will probably be faster. Okay.
Before we wind up, I was just commenting saying that I will show you the matrix which I have created for one of my clients, how the matrix works for, let me open that file first. We have to understand the concept of what the user wants, and based on that user concept, we have to understand the matrix. This is what we are talking about. We create a document. You are able to see my Excel file?
Yes, sir.
Here we say what are the menus we are going to use, whether we are going to use it or not. That is what is the capturing here. How many users I have, how many are with that designation, I have the user details. And then I come to this place, and for each type of, that is what I am using here, each type of person, I am saying these are the features or access points which are available. These are the services or the voucher types which are activities which I am going to control, type of activity, and these are the type of access. So if I want to know to whom all I have given accounting masters, I have to just filter here accounting masters, and it will show me to whom all I have given accounting master work. Creation, to whom all I have given, or I can just say what all I have given to as display print, to whom all I have given display print. It will throw open to whom all I have given display print. So this is how I have to create a matrix. These are employee name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and what they can do, what they cannot do. So this I have to understand the business model, sit with the management, and try to understand to whom what you are going to give. These are the roles which I am going to create, and that roles which I am going to create will be mapped here. Roles vis-a-vis the employee. The roles will come here. Roles vis-a-vis employee, and each role will be linked to this type of a scenario. That's how the matrix works. Sorry, we will not be able to share the matrix because this is a creation of ours. We do not like to share this. How can we import, and that we have to write a TDL? It has to be converted into XML, and then XML has to be brought inside. That's how you import data from Excel to Tally. There are many people who write TDL on this. You can use that. The use of matrix is to understand the user level and the creation which we have to see, and how we have to allow people to act. The user roles we saw how to create it. That's the reason of the usage of this matrix. It's like creating your information technology, entire information technology related security control and other features for accounting software Tally. Any doubt?
So I don't see any more questions in the Q&A or in the chat. I have disabled actually. So
if a voucher is changed 10 times, is it possible to see? Yes, it is possible. It will be showing you all the details, including the changes which have been made in the voucher. In my particular tally, it was not working. Shift F5 is the shortcut key to see the transaction movement, which is what are the changes made in the voucher as well.
To the audience, if you still have any query unanswered, we have 4 minutes before we wind up. Could you raise your hand?
Where to view the reports in Tally? Which report you are talking about, sir?
Mr. Srinivasan.
Which report you are trying to see? You can unmute.
I did hear, I think, I don't know. Mr. Srinivasan, we have unmuted you. If you want to clarify with Uttam sir, I think that would be easy. There is one more question, and the one once more to show the Tally audit creation methods in the Q&A. Uttam sir, I think, have we covered this?
Once more to show the Tally audit creation method. I'm not able to understand what is the question.
Okay, let me see what's his name is. Sir, I have given you the chance to unmute and ask your query directly. Nayak ji, do you want to get your query resolved? I think Mr. Rahul Gupta ji has also written a question.
That I have answered.
Oh, achha, okay, yeah, that is addressed.
That I have answered.
Okay, I think we do not have any further questions. So
activate Tally audit feature. That is in Alt K, Alter, again share. You're talking about Tally audit feature, right?
I think
let me share the
Tally.
Alt K, Alter, and there's something called Tally audit feature. You have to activate this to yes. Only when you activate this to yes, you will be able to see the Tally audit. And if you see here now, it is connected. This is auto connection of, I am activated and saying it is auto connected as and when the net is available, this company will be connected to the net. So the C alphabet shows that. I have answered that question also. My question has been answered.
Okay. So that's it, right? We have winded up. We can wind it up, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we do not have any further questions. And it's great to see that we still have these many people with us. Thank you so much, Uttam sir. It was a very smooth session. You know, you could take up all the questions as and when you were going with the topic. It was very engaging. I think all the queries got answered as and when the topic was taken, and which is very difficult most of the time. So it was a great session. Thank you so much for taking out the time to do this. We will, and the people you were asking for the recording, I have put a link on the chat box also. I'll just put it again. You can see all the recordings of CA Connect in our CA community portal. I'll just, in a day or two, I will make sure to upload them. So I just put the link in the chat before I conclude. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much. I will now end the session.